This session is in continuity to our discussions on creating forms in Microsoft Access. And in this session, we are going to explore some very fundamental way of creating up a form. And that is by going on to the Create tab and clicking on the form wizard. Now, if you, in layman terms, this is simply a step-by-step process for creating forms, and it does not involve going into the intricate details of creating forms. And it's quite useful for a person who is not really a programmer or a code developer. So the first thing that you need to answer before creating a form is that which kind of form are you creating? So are you creating up a bound form or are you creating up an unbound form? So a bound form is the one which is created on a table or a base which from where you can select the different variables that needs to go into the form. An unbound form, on the other hand, is simply a blank form which in which there isn't any default variables or values that exist in it, and it's a standalone form which needs to be designed from scratch. So in this case, I'm going to design my form on the table named paycheck. And the next thing that I need to decide is that what are the variables that are going to come up in this form. Now, the decision to use one or more variables into this form depends upon what are your intentions for concealing the data set on which this form would be made. So if an individual is going to edit the form and you don't really want the individual to know about the designation or a bonus or the salary for the individuals, you can simply select the ID variable, the first name variable, and the last name variable to be entered by him, and you can enter up the rest three values on your own. But if you are okay with the letting the person know about all the variables and data in your table, you may very well select all of the variables present over here. So when I click the next button, it asks me about what sort of layout do I need for the form which I'm going to be creating. So do I need a columnar one? So a columnar layout would simply present all of the variables and the values which needs to be entered in a column view. A tabular view is a slightly is very similar to the normal data sheet view that you are currently looking at the paycheck table right now, and it will present you with a similar kind of an interface for entering of the values. The data sheet view is again the typical data sheet view that you have over here. You can create a form just like this for entering any sort of values into it. And the justified for where the layout is probably the least used, and personally I don't really prefer this sort of a layout for a form, but just for demonstration purposes I'm going to show what a justified form looks like. So let's begin with the columnar layout and see how does it looks like. So I'm going to give it a name called paycheck column, and I want to open the form to view or enter information after the form has been made. So clicking on the finish button, so this is what you get by creating up a columnar layout form for your data set. So you have all the values coming up over here for different variables in the first record, and then you can quickly jump on to the different records. Maybe you can modify these values. So say I change this to David Luther. So the ID for this change is 4. I can go ahead and change up any number of values. But if I want to enter up a new value in the table, then I simply need to click on this little triangle followed by a star button. So the moment I'll click it, a new record would be created, and it will be that it is up to me to enter up values into this. So say I enter a value of Harish Mehta, and so the moment I can go ahead and edit even more records. This is the 13th record, and so on. So after you have ended up all of the information, it is worthwhile to check that what all changes have been brought up to your data set. So the first step is always saving your form. Then if the paycheck is already open, we need to close it, then reopen it. So this is what you get. So this is remember, we for the ID number 4 we changed the value to David Luther. So this is the change that is being reflected in the paycheck data set over here. So we also have a new ID variable created for us, which is Harish Mehta, and it is the same one which we created in the form over here. Now, the next form of a layout is the tabular form, and it is probably the most popular among all of these. So let's give it a name of paycheck underscore tab and hit the finish button. So this is what you get when you have a tabular form of a form, a tabular form of a form. Yeah. So this is, as you can see, pretty much similar to the data sheet view. And in this, again, you can enter up the first name, last name, then you can enter up the salaries, the bonus, the designation, the employee code, and so on. So if you want to enter up a new record, you need to click on this button again, and you can enter up all the values over here. Say I type in Sam, and so on and so forth. We can keep on editing these values. And if you again want to check out the changes that have been drawn by making this change, we need to save this, close the already existing data set, and open a paycheck again. So you see that the row with the name, first name Sam, has been created. So moving forward, the next form, the next type of layout is the data sheet form, and it is, as you would see, very similar to the normal datasheet view of MS Access. So see, it is very similar to the one which we created. And again, we can go on creating new variables for this table by either clicking the star button over here or manually typing into this. And last but not the least, the last form of a form layout is the justified layout. And I'm going to name it paycheck JUST, and I'm going to open the form after to or enter the information. So this is probably the most confusing form of form that we can create in MS Access. And personally, I always try avoiding creating such kind of forms, because in this, all of the information is represented vertically one underneath the another. And when you have a lot of variables, it gets confusing what is data and what is the variable's name. So in this case also, for demonstration purposes, we can select any of the values by going on the records over here, or we can create up a new value altogether. So let's say I write Sahil Gupta as the new entry for this table. So again, we need to save the value and close it, and then go on to the close it again, and then go on to paycheck, and you can see that a new row by the name of Sahil Gupta has been created. So these two sessions were primarily to give you a very broad understanding of the step-by-step process involved in creating forms in the most easiest possible way. Hope you enjoyed the sessions. Thank you for watching.